This is the Left, Right and Centre, and I'm Maria Shakil. Yet another stampede, yet another loss of precious lives. This time it's Tirupati, a place of worship, a place of solace. But for some, it has become a place of tragedy. 5 of the 6 victims of the Wednesday night stampede are women, mothers who had gone with their families hoping to have darshan of Lord Venkateshwara during the auspicious Vaikunta Ekadasi to start the new year. They waited patiently for over 12 hours in the long queues while their husbands and children stood in other queues. The husband of Santi, the youngest victim, is an auto rickshaw driver while their son is pursuing secondary education. It's heartbreaking to hear these stories. What followed this tragedy was a fixed protocol of reactions: condolences, compensation, suspension of officials, and a judicial inquiry. But at the heart of this stampede is the question: have we as a nation become desensitized to the loss of human life? We shake our heads, we offer our condolences, and then we move on. But the truth is that human lives do matter. Every single life lost in a stampede is a life that could have been saved. Every family that is mourning today could have been spared that pain. We discussed that on the show tonight, but first up, a report from Ground Zero.
After hours of waiting and navigating crowds, Venkatesh had managed to get tokens for Vaikunta Dwara Sarvadarshanam. Then he started searching for his wife Shanti when he chanced upon a video about the stampede. Through that, he found out that his wife had died in the tragedy that claimed the lives of 5 women and a man.
వాళ్ళు అసలు 12 గంటలకి అనౌన్స్మెంట్ చేయాలి, 12 గంటలు వదులుతానని మా ఆవిడని ముందు పెట్టాను. మేము కొద్దిగా అనుకున్నాం. వెనక్కుంటే వాళ్ళు మైకిలో చెప్తారు 12 గంటలకు వదులుతాం మీరు వెనక వెళ్ళిపోండి. ఈలోగా 8 గంటలకు వదిలేశారు. ఒకసారి పులవమని మా ఆవిడ ముందు కాదు పులవమని పడిపోయారు. మా ఆవిడ పడిపోయింది నాకు తెలియదు. కానీ ముందుకి మా ఆవిడ లైన్లో ఉందని చెప్పేసి మేము లైన్ కట్టుకున్నాం టికెట్ కోసం.
The stampede happened when thousands who had been waiting for hours to get the free tokens for Vaikunta Ekadasi on Friday suddenly surged forward when the gates opened to bring out a woman who was unwell.
More than 2,500 people, police say, were in this area, what the police call as the holding area, to have these people here till the police let them out in batches to join a queue outside this campus to collect the tokens for the upcoming Vaikunta Ekadasi Darshan from the adjoining Rama Naidu school.
The family of Malika from Tamil Nadu, Salem, blamed the police for failing to control the crowds. They alleged the police did not help to shift her or get medical help.
பாதுகாப்பு போலீஸில் நின்றுக்கிட்டு தான் இருந்தாங்க. எங்களாம் எதுவுமே சொல்லலை. உட்கார வச்சதுக்கு கூட அந்த பொம்பளைக்கு தூக்கி உட்கார வைக்கணும் சொல்லி கூட்டிகிட்டு போங்கன்னு தான் சொல்கிறாங்களே வழிஞ்சு அவங்க என்ன ஏதுன்னு கண்டுக்கல. போலீஸ் அந்த மல்லிகைக்கால
அவங்களுக்கு உடம்பு சரியில்லாம போச்சா?
பின்ன தூக்கி உட்கார வச்சோம்னா இடுப்பு ஒடிஞ்சு மேய்ச்சிக்கிட்டு போயிட்டாங்கல்ல.
There was adequate police all across the counters, right, in Tirumala and Tirupati. 9 counters are in Tirupati, 1 in Tirumala. And at this particular junction, it was purely unfortunate. Otherwise, there was sufficient force and sufficient arrangements, food, water, toilets, everything was taken care of.
Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu demanded answers for what had gone wrong.
Civil administration in Tirupati, TTD administration, Tirupati and Tirumala has to have more coordination. All 6 members were all deceased, 25 lakhs each family, and 1 job for the family. That is one decision I have taken in consultation with everybody. And 2 families were severely injured, 5 lakhs each we are giving. All other 33 families, 2 lakhs each we are giving financial assistance.
This, even as the YSRCP is demanding political accountability.
Because of government failure it happened. Government should come forward and investigate the issue, whatever happened, and punish the people who are responsible, be it TTD officials, be it TTD employees, government employees, or police force.
అల్లు అర్జున్ గారి మీద 105 బిఎన్ఎస్ పెట్టడం జరిగింది. చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు గారి నుంచి టీటీడీ చైర్మన్ పాలక మండలి నుంచి కింద స్థాయి ఎస్పీ వరకు మరి అందరూ బాధ్యత వహించాలి కదా.
The government has declared 25 lakh rupees compensation to the families of the victims.
While the Tirupati Stampede has already turned into a political slanging match of sorts, one cannot help but look at this also in the backdrop of the recent stampede involving Allu Arjun. The big question, would there be political accountability as well? And would lessons be learned? But Uma Sudhir in Hyderabad, in Tirupati with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
Joining me on the show, Jyotsna is representing the TDP. We have Silpa Ravi Reddy, a national spokesperson of YSRCP. Rahul Ishwar is an activist, and Sanjay Sahai, former ADGP of Karnataka. I'm going to begin with you, Mr. Sahai. The question is it lack of infrastructure, lack of planning, or would you say just lack of accountability after each tragedy?
It is basically a casual approach to crowd management. So that is at the core of this issue, and I can give you 4 instances which has happened last year, starting from Hathras to Allu Arjun. Allu Arjun also the same story went on, and then there is a blame game, there is a political slugfest, and people who are responsible for it, they get out of it. I am not able to understand, still not able to understand. I made some preparation for your show as to what is the distribution or the bifurcation of responsibility with regards to security arrangement between TTD and the police and the government there. The second part is whatever is the standard protocol, whether that has been followed or not. If I go through the video, I find it is not such a huge crowd that it could not have been managed. And when there is a crisis situation, it's not that you just deploy police people. Whether the police people or your own staff, whether they have the capability to react in a crisis situation, and when the crisis starts, whether they have the capability to pull it off. So that certainly, if you see the videos, I don't find that capability was there. So it's a callousness at the first level. It is a very casual approach, and wherever incident happens, so things are blamed there, some transfers take place, and beyond that, nothing happens. So broadly, crowd management is a very non-scientific, non-professional engagement of deploying police people all around the place. And in this case, TTD, who is person responsible for the security arrangements? So we have absolutely no idea. So we get some couple of people, suspend them, and life goes on. So primarily, it is lack of hard-coded protocol of security arrangements with very clear-cut accountability, and there is absolutely no rehearsal, no evacuation rehearsal, no plan wherein a crisis team moves in and sorts out the issue. So this is where we started.
Okay. Jyotsna, I think the opening comments perhaps sum up this entire tragedy. So the question that I'll ask will emanate from what Sanjay Sahai said, that was standard protocol in place. It's about basic crowd management. Was that done keeping in mind that there was, Vaikunta Ekadasi festival, it was on the anvil, and there would be a sudden increase in the footfalls?
Maria, yes. Initially, I would definitely say one thing: condolences to all the family that they've lost their members, and it is an untoward incident that has happened in the state, in the holy shrine of Tirumala Tirupati. Here, there are certain things very rightly quoted by my co-panelist. Yes, there are standard protocols that need to be set for crowd management. Even in this case, the TTD, the officials of TTD, and in fact the board, even for the past 3 days, they have been, there are certain counters, number of counters being set up for these tokens. Initially, actually, I don't want to talk about it, but this token system was not there before 5 years. The Vaikunta Ekadashi was only followed for 2 days. Suddenly, the earlier government said, no, we are going to be extending it for 10 days, and the token system would come in. Agama Shastra was not followed. Again, I'm not going to politicize it, but in this particular incident, in this particular case, the TTD officials and the government officials also had a regular check on where those points were to be, how many police were to be deployed there, and what all things. And the TTD chairperson was even yesterday also, he appealed to the people saying that there are certain, things going on in the social media. Please do not believe it. Tokens are being issued at certain so-and-so places from so-and-so time. And even without the tokens, you can come onto the hill shrine, but with the token, you would get the darshana. There were things made very clearly from the TTD side. Second thing is, exclusively in this particular case, we found out that in the preliminary report, after the preliminary report and preliminary questioning was done, it was found out that one of those officials did not follow the standard protocol. There is no doubt about it. Especially the Ravana Kumar, the DSP. Yes, there was, when you are evacuating a sick person, for example, that's what the claim the police are doing there. If you are evacuating a sick person from there, you continuously make announcement in the mic saying that it's only for evacuation of a sick person, that the gates are opened only for a short stint of time. And there was and according to some of the eyewitnesses, the police personnel deployed was not, actually the number that was supposed to be there and that was promised. So these are all the lapses, and we acknowledge those lapses, and that's the reason immediately action has been taken on those particular officials. At the same time, we are not shying away, we are not escaping. We said a judicial inquiry is also going to be happening in this particular case, and whoever is responsible for furthermore, when the furthermore details arise, whoever is responsible at whatever position they are in, they would be taken to task. There is no doubt on that. But our main concern as on date is, Maria, we have lost, it's a very sacred place. We have lost lives there. People who have come to have darshan of Lord Balaji have lost their lives. The sacredness of the place is also, for some or one of the negligence or, false acts of one or two individuals should not bring, a bad name to the place. That's all we are talking about.
Will it actually, Rahul Ishwar, let me ask about that aspect of it. Yes, that an incident of this nature, can it really deter people to not go to Tirupati and wait for this entire auspicious occasion to end, and then wait for the crowd to perhaps decrease a little and then travel for worship?
Maria ji, you may remember in Shabarimala, in our Kerala's Shabarimala, Stampede happened and nearly 106 lives were lost. It was the perhaps the one of the most saddest incident I was at that point there. I personally went and visited. We could do whatever we can. This is the point where we should say it. We should not politicize. We should not use it for anything else, but we should focus on scientific crowd management. See, we devotees are ordinary people. We are very sentimental. We are attached to this, but we need to be guided well. Who has that responsibility? Temple authorities, government administration, courts. They should be given such guidelines. 3 days back there was an unfortunate incident in Kerala temple where an elephant unfortunately caused fatality to people. See, we ordinary people, we believe in God. We will still go. Absolutely. Yes, but it is the responsibility of the government to implement security protocols, take care of such things. This is not a fault of God or devotees. This is a fault of the lack of scientific crowd management, and we should be open and honest about this. We should have security protocols. We should have proper training. We should have disaster management sessions. All these things should be combined, because whenever we are going to a holy temple, holy church, or a holy mosque, we believe in the God or we believe in the force and we are going it. And it is extremely painful for families when they lose their members when they are going to a temple, church, or a mosque. So it's a very serious issue that our government should focus. More resource should be allocated. More training needs to be given. More security protocol should be in place. I believe as a normal devotee, I can guarantee you any devotee, if not banned, everything we will be follow from the government or court side. The only humble request is we should never go to the extent of saying these are all bad, because we devotees are sensitive people. At the same point of time, any harsh restriction, any kind of guideline, all the devotees will be willing to comply, because it is at the end of the day for our own safety. So the responsibility lies, the honest, the last word lies with the government and the administration. They should take care of such things.
Yes. So the judicial inquiry will reveal the truth, where it all went wrong. But it cannot really stop at suspension of those officers, We do not know much about their role in this entire security protocol which had to be in place. So that brings me to the YSRCP national spokesperson, Mr. Reddy. Politics aside, the larger question of administration is not being addressed here. You feel that it is the chief minister who has to explain, yes, we have to seek answers at all levels. It's not just about those officers, as Sanjay Sahai pointed out rightly. There is callousness which has to be fixed. But the larger question is that the entire protocol is going wrong, not just here. This is perhaps a symptom of a larger malaise which is happening in India, where we do not understand how to control the crowd or manage the crowd, I would say.
Yes, Maria, rightly said. Firstly, I would like to convey my sincere condolences to all the bereaved families. It is a very sad incident, especially during Vaikunta Ekadasi. This is a very auspicious day for all of us, and I have also been visiting Tirumala for the last 5 years. And it not just last 5 years. I mean, whenever Vaikunta Ekadasi is there are lakhs of devotees who would want to visit Tirumala and seek darshan. So this is a regular procedure which happens every single year. This is nothing new to TDT also, Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam also. So they have been managing it quite well. And in the last 5 years also, they have managed it quite well. And unfortunately, this year, I think their focus was elsewhere. And there was utter failure of governance, utter failure of administration. They couldn't give the enough security. And also, since we're talking about security, what we have to remember is Chandrababu Naidu garu, the chief minister, was touring Chittoor district. That is his native district. The incident happened in his native district, and he was in his native district for the last 3 days. I think the entire administration, to please the chief minister, had forced all the security to his place, to Kuppam. And that is the reason why what we are seeing what happened today has happened. Because, TTD is adept at, is capable of doing these kind of things. And with likely, before TDP spokesperson was talking, and she was trying to put the blame on YSRCP, saying, in the last 5 years, they changed the rules, they weren't following Agama Shastra and all. I would like to tell you, if we hadn't followed Agama Shastra, and if we had increased the number of days from 2 to 10, why are you following the same? Don't you believe in Agama Shastra? We did that because 2 days were not enough to control the crowd. There were lakhs and lakhs of devotees who would want to have darshan of Lord Venkateshwara. And these people could not control a crowd of 2,500. And they're talking about, doing it in 2 days. That would lead to a disaster. So I'm not trying to, we're not trying to politicize it. All we are trying to tell is, this is a there's lack of administration. This is an administration failure. Everyone, including the chief minister, to the chairman, to the JEO, EO, the collector, the SP, they all have to answer, because we're not talking about stats here. We're talking about people who have died, and we have to be, they have to answer to all those family members.
And this happened during the distribution of tokens.
I would accept it if it is on a one-time incident.
Please,
this ritual has been going on for several years, and never ever in Tirumala such an untoward incident has happened. This is the first time we are seeing such a deadly incident. And this is definitely due to lack of proper planning, lack of administration. And I think I would go to the extent saying I would blame all the officials involved in this.
Okay, because temple trust officials have said that the gate at one of the token counters was opened for a woman who was feeling unwell, which led to chaos and resulted in a stampede. And then around 15 minutes it took for the officials to evacuate the devotees. So that crucial time of 15 minutes, before I bring in, before I bring in Jyotsna, Sanjay Sahai, that 15 minutes.
But we have to just keep one thing in mind: the devotees were waiting all day. They were waiting from morning till evening 8:30, and that is when they opened the counters.
Yes.
You should have been very careful. You should have been, there should have been more information to the devotees at what time the gates would be open. And we're only talking about 2,500 people. We're not talking about lakhs of people here.
Yes.
We're just talking about 2,500 people, and
So
they're
if
not able
the-
to control 2,500 people. That shows their lack of administration failure.
So then in that case, Sanjay Sai, as you said, the crowd doesn't look like that it had really swelled up. It was a manageable crowd, as the YSRCP spokesperson is pointing out, just 2,500, not the usual 1 lakh plus footfalls of devotees that Tirupati sees on a daily basis. Then where do you think it all went wrong? It cannot be about, a lack of one woman falling ill. And of course, 12-hour long wait is definitely painful. But that 15 minutes of evacuation, where did the police not keep a watch on?
My personal understanding is that the number of police personnel which were there in the bandobast arrangements, I think those people were not there. So that's point number one. And second point is
because they were elsewhere.
Women had to be evacuated. That particular 15-minute time, I think it could have been managed by whatever is their crisis management and the communication saying that somebody has fallen ill and the person is getting evacuated. Managing 2,500, and I don't think there was any training of any nature in which there was slightest inkling what to do in crisis. So that itself was completely missing. It is certainly a manageable crowd. You can see the videos right now, and the videos clearly show that there has not been a nature of a professional police response, either by way of evacuation or creating a human mall or whichever way they deem fit or they have been trained to. So that is certainly missing.
Okay. Will you take that response forward, Jyotsna? Because of course the questions are being raised on the administration. So it cannot be just stopping at, 2 suspensions. The buck stops with whom here?
See, that's what I said. We are not stopping it at here. We have that's the reason we have ordered for a judicial inquiry also. We have not stopped it at, and we are not escaping from here. And one thing is, yes, it is something that is very unfortunate, and I'm also seeing those visuals, Maria. Even if I am a TDP spokesperson or the government spokesperson also, the point is there has been a mishandling there. I'm seeing it. And that's the reason we are saying people have to, it has to, we have to become accountable for that. And that's the reason there is a probe ordered. And that's the reason the chief minister is there. That's the reason the deputy chief minister is there. And that's the reason all the ministers are there. We are trying to find out where things have gone wrong and why things have gone wrong, who is responsible behind it. And we have not at all politicized this event at all. But since morning, Maria, my pain is only one thing. We have not politicized this event because it is an untoward incident and we are trying to figure out what went wrong. As a government, we are acknowledging we are responsible here. But the comments by the opposition party leaders, talking about Chandrababu Naidu Garu's, calling him as iron leg by one of their leader, Roja, or talking about some other things, talking about politicizing the events, is something I think they should actually be ashamed of. They shouldn't do that. In this, I'll give you a small example.
Maria, I'd like to...
Honorable, one second, please. One second, please. Today, Honorable Chief Minister visited the injured in the hospital. He was there with them for almost 1.5 to 2 hours. He individually went and met each and every injured person there, assured them that we are there with you, the government is there with you, will take care of you, and let us know what has happened. He spoke to them, and he in fact told sorry to them. But later in the evening, we see the opposition leader go there with a throng of people there. They are literally banging into the ICUs. They are removing the ICU, the saline bottles there, oxygen mask there. I think that is it what we called as responsible opposition? I'm sorry, I can show you the video of that also. But again, I request
extremely shameful. Of course, while the opposition will do its part,
Maria, I'll show you the video.
It is for the government of the day which has to answer. But the larger question is that what is getting lost in this are the pertinent questions that are being raised by the former ADGP of Karnataka here on the show, which needs to be addressed.
I'd like to bring one incident to your notice.
Which is something I would say even the opposition should ask, rather than giving it the spiritual twist that you're trying to do. Mr. Reddy, will you respond?
Sorry, yeah. Maria, I just want to bring one incident to your notice because, last time when TDP government was there happened to be another very big ritual, the Godavari Pushkaralu, and there were about 28 people died in that stampede. So we're talking about a government where an incident has already happened. And this is the second incident in the same government. And what lessons have we learned from the past? What lessons have we learned? What have you answered to those bereaved families? Did you answer to those families? And if yes, then what have you learned? This is the second incident.
I'll talk about Kachulu.
No, it can't keep happening every single time. That means you're not looking at the the proper things. Your focus where your focus should be there. Your focus is not there. You're talking about something else. Your focus should be on crowd management. Your focus should be on better management facilities at TTD. While your focus is on Tirupati Laddu, on someone else's faith, on bringing all sort of
Can I just point out one thing?
utter nonsense to the table. So
Can
we
I
are just
point out
saying,
one thing?
it has already happened in your government. It shouldn't have happened another time. If at all, if an incident has happened, what have you learned and what have you implemented?
I'm talking about today.
Mariaji, can I just point out one thing?
What is happening? Kindly do not politicize. My request to you. If you have any,
I'm
just asking a simple question.
Do not
what have
politicize.
you learned from the past incident?
I'm done with the politicians here because I certainly realize that
Mariaji, as a devotee, can I point out one
this show started that there is no value to the precious loss of human lives, because at the end of the day, this is what the political class does. Continue with
Mariaji,
the blame
just
game,
1 second.
not looking
As
for
a devotee,
solutions.
can
Go
I
ahead. Rahul.
Mariaji, as a devotee beyond politics, let me point out something. Let me give me one line.
Yes, Rahul,
as a normal devotee beyond politics, let me point out something. See, I don't have any politics in this, but I believe people like Pawan Kalyanji, who we all look up to beyond any politics, he has called for many reforms. So at least in temples, we need to have security training. Such kind of protocol should be a part of our ecosystem, be it any places. So these are also the structural reforms that we need to bring. I have been a part of many temple committee. People like me have never got any kind of training. So security training, all the people there, these kind of disaster management. Let us bring these kind of things beyond politics to our temples. And I hope people like Pawan Kalyanji will take it up, because these are the real reforms that the normal Hindu or the normal temple boards really need. All the other things should be there. But these kind of events are very, very painful. The families are torn forever. They will lose their belief in themselves and in the whole cosmic order. So we need to get together our act, and beyond politics, we need to institute. I hope political parties will join their hands for this.
Parties really join in hand.
Maria,
10 seconds to both of you. And Mr. Reddy, politics aside, will you join hands to find a solution?
Yes, we are ready to join hands.
Okay, we are ready.
And,
what about you, Jyotsna? Will you show the large-heartedness of having YSRCP also on board?
I support.
You support that. Last word to Sanjay Sahai. Go ahead, Sanjay Sahai.
Whether the protocol is in place or not, and whether the resources available there, human resource and financial resources, are being deployed to commensurate to the protocol. Third is whether in this particular instance, the protocol is followed and where things were missing. And last and most important is that there is no need of a judicial inquiry. It needs 2 to 3 days maximum to conduct this inquiry, and any senior level police or IS officer can do that. Things can be fixed within 3 days, and then once you get the result, you take the punitive action, you take the reformative action, you do the improvement, and that is how things will change. If there is the issue of crowd management all around the country, I think there is need to do a very serious business case study on crowd management and improve upon whatever protocols we have. And most importantly, is that the callous nature and that things will happen the way they are, and we will be able to get over this particular tragedy also. That has to completely be vanished from our thought process.
Absolutely. Let's end this discussion on that note, that there is a need to revisit the entire crowd management protocol, not just here in Tirupati where this tragedy took place, but all across the country, wherever we have seen, particularly where the footfalls is really high. Thank you so much for joining us, Jyotsna, Mr. Sanjay Sahai, Rahul Iswar and Silpa Reddy.